Hello and welcome to Pine Lake. This is a Monster of the Week game run through the Open Hearth, which is an online gaming community that all of us here are part of. Monster of the Week is a powered by the apocalypse game about investigating monsters and other weird events. My name is Anders. I use the he, him pronouns, and you will very soon get to meet the rest of our lovely players here. For this game, we're using a set of safety tools, including lines and veils, the X card, the open door policy, so that anyone can leave for any reason if they need to, and the Open Hearth code of conduct. I won't go through all of this in detail, but we have everything in our online character keeper. So this game is set in Pine Lake, a fictional town in Wyoming, not to be confused with any actual town named Pine Lake. It's in the unspecified 1980s. And this is a fairly small town, not tiny, but it's not a huge town. It's set on the shore of the lake that people call Pine Lake, but that's not its actual name. On the other side of the lake from the town is the Grayside's Prison, which is the main employer of the town. It's an old prison. It's been built, added to, and modified over decades, and it's very important to the town, but it's also some distance away across the lake. Bad things happen there, not just the regular bad things that often happen in prisons. Also, across the lake is a nature preserve, which I think we named, it's the Pine Lake Recreational Preserve. So there's a national park there. The town has a dark past that maybe we'll delve into, but yeah, it will definitely come up at some point. There's the usual stuff you will have in a small town in a TV show about monsters and that sort of thing. There's a shady military base. There are criminals. There's a youth center, which is one of the positive points about this town. Well run and funded. There's a community college, the Ruth Grayside Community College, which is kind of intertwined with the prison. They have a lot of programs there for people who want to get into that line of work. Here we have our final player. Welcome, Jim. So that's the town. Let's introduce our players and their characters. I will go from left to right in the character keeper. So Will, you're up first.
Hi, my name is Will, and my pronouns are he, him, and I will be playing Lyle Gerhardt. Lyle Gerhardt is a younger member of the Gerhardt crime family. He's the Crooked Playbook. He's late. He's a senior in high school. Not that he attends very much, and he would be a scion of the Gerhardt family, apart from that his dad, Bryce Gerhardt, disappeared about 10 years ago in mysterious circumstances that coincided with a few busts in the crime family. And the impression that's never said out loud to Lyle, but he remembers, big scary men breaking apart his uncle, his mum crying, like breaking apart the house, searching for them. And there's always been a distance between his mum and the family now. But yeah, if they think that Bryce Gerhardt turned state witness against the Gerhardts, and Lyle's kind of come to the conclusion that a lot of the time that when they come to help out his family, it's them all keeping tabs to see whether Bryce comes back for his wife and his son. But even though he's kept on the edge of things, his family's still family, and Lyle still has a good relationship with his, particularly with his older cousin Jake. And Jake knows to keep him out of the business, but there's always side jobs and opportunities and things like that. So Lyle's got a bit of a good racket. He is a grifter, which is how he's able to work his way back into his family's graces despite the shadow over him. He always knows what people want to hear. And he's got, probably among all of us, probably the most weaponry, I would say, apart from maybe one of our player books. But I changed his the knife, the big knife that the crooked starts with, into like a boot knife, a little one that he took away. And his mum's got a shotgun back at the house, which isn't his, but he could get his hands on it if he wanted to. And he did find in a stash box buried in the backyard a magical amulet, which I'm not sure he fully knows is magical, but it was clearly something that his dad left behind, and a .38 revolver that he's not told anyone about. So yeah, as the crooked, he has a couple of background sort of like heat on him, and I've decided that might be an assistant state attorney who I've yet to name, who's determined to bring down the Gerhardts, and it's probably he's one of the big sources of this rumor that Bryce turned witness. He's forever dropping hints, muddying the names, like trying to sow division among the Gerhardts, and it's working. And he doesn't give Lyle any sort of like leeway for being part of that family, or at least not at the start of play. And also a well-connected criminal who Lyle pissed off. I don't know fully for sure. We can play it to find out, but thinking like some sort of small-time business owner / criminal in the town who Lyle ripped off. The Gerhardt like business and protection isn't worth the trouble of going after Lyle. He's protected for now. But that guy's got his eyes out for Lyle, any chance to screw him over without the rest of the family finding out. And I'll define those as we go if there's a good NPC to bring up for it or anything. Probably not going to be that big a deal when Lyle's 18, I guess, or 17. But yeah, that is Lyle Gerhardt, who is played by Tom Holland from I Saw the Devil, or whatever it was called. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Next up is Puckett.
Hey there, my name is Puckett. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Dorothy Dot Harris. She's named after her grandmother. Her father is Franklin Harris, who is the new warden of the local prison. He moved himself and his daughter there to get a fresh start after his wife and her mother passed away from cancer. That's pretty much all we know about Dot at this point. I figure we'll find out more in play, but she is a flake, and she does have the moves Connect the Dots, Net Friends, and often overlooked because at this point, she tries to blend into the background and not be noticed, so she's not known as Dead Mom Girl or something like that in the local high school. Because you know how easy it is to get a reputation like that. People learn one thing about you, and you are that thing forever in their eyes.
Indeed. Thank you. Next is Jim.
You had
I can't hear you, Jim.
I think your hardware muted, maybe.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
All right, I got to click hard on that microphone. That was the third time that I pressed the little mute button, so it's my Yeti. I'm Jim. I generally go by he, him. If you're using they, them more generically, that's totally fine with me too. It's not going to bother me. I am going to be playing Patience Pat Burton. All of his friends know him as Pat, and he is the initiate, which means that there is a sect that has been training me for some sort of supernatural occurrence that is going to happen at some point. And one of the things that we established when we set up our game was the Burton Expedition, which was, I think maybe the Burton Convoy. Is that what we called it? Or was it the Burton Expedition?
Burton Convoy.
The Burton convoy, yes, the Burton convoy, which came up over the mountains in frontier days and had a Donner Party type incident that may or may not have had some sort of, supernatural involvement. And the surviving members of that convoy kind of, finished their trip to California, but then maybe like a generation later, they came back and have kind of settled in Pine Lake here. And so I am the descendant of some of those people that were on that original convoy. And they maintain that there's some sort of like evil thing in the area that they have to be ready for it to emerge again. Because it's one thing for it to strike, a convoy of a couple of dozen people, and another thing entirely for it to come down on a city of, many thousands of people, right? And so we've kind of been training, getting ready for that. My parents are both teachers at the community college. And I think that neither of them were the initiate before me. I want to say that that's like an uncle, right? Like someone who, if there was a previous initiate, it wasn't either of my parents. But they've been training me, from birth for something strange. And I think that at first I had like last week, I'd kind of talked about being like, kind of like, swaggering prom king kind of guy, but I kind of like it better if I'm a little off, a little odd, right? Like I'm captain of and state champion of the fencing team, right? But like I'm not playing football or basketball or anything like that. I'm maybe like fencing, wrestling, like martial arts classes on the side and stuff like this. And like, whatever. Indifferent academically, because that's not what I'm training for, right? That's not what my parents are. And also my parents are like, I don't think I'd be homeschooled, but I get a lot of kind of like history classes at home and stuff like that. And so I think if there's anything I know about, I can rattle off the history of the town and what's, and that sort of thing. But mostly I'm, just kind of waiting for something to happen. I think I'm, and we'll play to find out the extent to which I am excited about that or resent it or whatever. But I think right now it's kind of like I'm just at the age where maybe I'm just starting to question whether this thing is really going to happen or not and what's going on. And, and maybe whatever previous encounters with the possibly supernatural we've had before, may have, maybe putting a thumb on the scale a little bit for that. But I'm really curious to find out what's going on and how, how I relate to everybody else and what's, whether that thing that they're preparing me for is actually going to happen or not.
Cool, thank you. And we finally have Paul.
Hello, my name's Paul, and the character I'm playing is Joss Plickett, pronouns he, him, as are mine. And while Pat thinks something's going to happen, Joss is in the firm belief that something has already happened, because Josh and his family were abducted by the government, and or Joss thinks it's the government, and taken to the Air Force Base, where Josh and his family have spent some time, indeterminate to Josh, but eventually Joss managed to escape from the Air Force Base and found his way back to town. And now he's got a small job working in the video store, where he will inform everybody about the goings on in the Air Force Base. Is indeed a true hive of scum and villainy in there. And Josh has found some like-minded individuals. Josh is a network of 5 fellow escapees, or people that claim that they've escaped. and they help Josh at various times find out what is going on in the town and at the Air Force Base.
Very cool. So one of the things I wanted to try out with this run of the game is to have a more extended time scale. That means that mystery will run in the usual pace, but between mysteries we will have a few years pass rather than a few days or a few weeks. So things will move along between mysteries. So we should get into character connections. And the way I usually like to do this, which is how Will also described it here before we started recording, is that each of you pick one of your connections, throw it out to the table, or just if you have someone that you feel like this would really work really well, feel free to pitch that. Anyone who wants to pick something up, do so. I think, well, let's start with Paul. Do you have something for Joss that you want to bring up?
So this is one of my histories. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. You're both veterans of a therapy or support group or treatment program. Work out the details between you.
Could be both members of a, sounds as though you kind of dropped out of school when you went missing, right? And perhaps Lyle, it's that same sort of like truancy kind of thing. And it's like the last attempt to sort of get you back into school was also like where I was sent to be like, you should stay in school. That's where we met and became friends. And that's where he told me all about, it's the government, man. The government did this to me.
Indeed. Yep. I'll. So it's a sort of a how would we describe that, therapy or support group or treatment? So is it a delinquent teenager program?
Juvenile delinquency program. Yeah.
Juvenile delinquency program. Okay, let me.
I think in the US we would probably call it a truancy program, because that's like when you're not attending school but not necessarily getting in trouble. That's truancy.
Oh yeah, but I think this was like.
Are you acting out?
Like fully dropped out, right? So like, Lyle's definitely acting out. I think it's maybe like town. You're not going in school. That must be acting out. As well at the same time. It's all lumped together. Maybe even took place at the prison, right?
I think it's PIP, right? It's the Prison Interruption Program.
I like that. Yeah.
Because they want to keep you from going from ending up in the prison.
Okay. Got that. The PIP.
Excellent. So, Jim, do you have something you want to throw out for Pat?
Yeah, I have for let's see. So for I have fellow Ancient Weapons / martial arts club members, which I think in our case would be someone else who's on the fencing team, and I think that would be cool if that were Dot.
I could do that. That feels weird enough.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Also, like a sport we're desperate to recruit girls for.
Is that because you're so nerdy that you can't meet girls any other way, or is that because you desperately need competitors for the women's divisions, or is it both?
A little from column A, a little from column B. I think it is perceived as a nerdy activity it's
Oh, absolutely.
It's nerdy enough that none of us care about your dad being in prison
Oh, he's not in prison.
or
He's
whatever.
the warden.
Sorry. Oh, that's right. He's the warden. None of us like if anybody that whatever that hassles you about that, we don't yeah we like any whatever social difficulty you have, you do not, we don't care about that. Does that work?
Works for me.
Excellent.
Cool. That brings us to Dot. Puckett, do you have some history you want to throw out for Dot?
All right. Where are my history questions?
They are going to be on your they're not in the keeper, so you want to open the do you have
Consolidated playbook?
I have, yes, I've got it
Drive, yeah.
open. So hang on.
so it's usually on the second page, like just past where it says introductions. That's usually where it is. What are you playing? You're playing the Flake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the second page on the left-hand side.
So Will, if you're okay with this, I think I'm looking at Lyle Gerhardt and trying to keep track of you because I think you're somehow tied into it all. And I've got my eye on you.
Yeah, I mean, you often see me meeting strange people in the car park. I often have new clothes, new things, the odd bruise, etc. Yeah, 100%. Perhaps, I got hit by a car once and I got up without a scratch thanks to my protective amulet.
So we're just putting this in the notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
That brings us to Lyle. Will, do you have something?
I think this hunter saved my life when a monster had a drop on me. Now I owe them one. And I think that this is whatever our encounter with the Pale Man was. And I'm going to suggest that it was old Patience Pat Burton, who I previously thought of as a dumb jock, literally. It turns out that fencing stuff isn't just, insert horrendously offensive 80s thing that they would say about such a thing. Yeah. I think that works for me. That works for Jim.
Cool. So let's snake back, and this time I think if you feel you have something that you want to put out there, please do, but don't feel like you have to, because like most of the characters have connections to most of the other characters. You're all tied together, even if not every single character has a connection to every other single character. But if you have something that you want to put out and think there's a good target for, then please do so. So yeah, we'll snake back. Will, do you have another one you want to add?
No, because I've got one-way connections with everybody so far, so I don't think I'll throw another one out.
Cool. Thank you, Puckett. And you're muted.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Just struggling to get back to the mic.
Yeah.
Paul, how old is Joss?
Joss is 18, 19 in that area.
Which do you think would be more likely for Josh? Knowing each other through cryptozoology and conspiracy theory websites, BBSs in this case, or signs all pointing to working together?
I think the first one's got a lot more mystery involved in that, hasn't it? So clearly I'm interested in what's going on at the airbase. So yeah, I think we've met in a BBS.
Yeah.
You know, at 28.8K. And yeah.
Oh, at this point it's 1200, 2400.
Oh, it's 1200 only. Okay. Yeah, so I think we've definitely exchanged information on this BBS about conspiracies.
This is the area where the era where you might actually be plugging a hand phone, like a handset from your phone into a cradle to get the modem to work. So that was a big deal when you could actually pull the phone cord out and plug it into the back of your modem. That was
well,
so leap forward for all of us.
So Paul, is it Joss or Josh?
Well, you know, these things always flick around while I'm playing. Today, let's go with.
Never mind that.
It's Joss. It says Joss on the sheet.
Yeah.
Joss. Yeah, let's go with Josh.
It's a little nod to a prominent monster hunting author. So yeah.
So Joss and Dot, do you think you had contact on this BBS before Dot moved to town, or is that something you connected through later?
I think it would be quite cool if it was pre-move, but really that's a question more for Dot than myself. I think pre-move, because then it shows a bit of history. But you know, if Dot wants to take it the other way, I'm super chill with that.
So I like that idea. I'm wondering if we can play it like we didn't know it was each other until after I moved to town.
Well, of course not. You're never going to put your real name because the government's watching.
Okay. Yeah, because I do like that idea where we've been corresponding and talking and things like that. So it turns out I actually do know somebody in town, although I don't know that I do.
Indeed.
So that feels fun.
Yeah. But you figured it out now, so now you know that you are both the same people on that BBS as in real life.
Joss, what's your screen name?
Oh, what's I've already got this one. Pain Warrior.
Pain Warrior?
Pain Warrior. I did the emo name generator, and that's what came up.
I mean, and in that first adventure, it had to be like, oh my god, Pain Warrior 5000?
Because there's 4,999 other Pain Warriors.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know, not that early in the internet, though. This
is a BBS.
In his early days, he might have been Pain Warrior 200.
It could be the original Pain Warrior.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because the first Pain Warrior was Pain Warrior. And the second Pain Warrior, when they saw that Pain Warrior wasn't available, was Pain Warrior 666. And then there's all the other Pain Warriors. So, yeah.
Pain Warrior with a 0 instead of an O. And,
yeah, P41N. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Puckett. So, Jim, do you want to find another connection, or are you happy with how things stand?
So I've got two. I don't have a connection with Joss, and so I'd like to make a connection with Joss. Paul, I have one here that says, this person and I met researching mystical weirdness, and we've been occult comrades ever since. And I think like Pat doesn't feel to me like a person who spends a lot of time in the library, but absolutely would like have walked up on you when you were like, crouched down with the binoculars, like on a, over, whatever, like on a, a hill that overlooks the Air Force Base, walking up there like with his own binoculars because he was going to look at the Air Force Base too. And, if he got the story out of you of what happened, 100% believes you. No, like gives you no crap about it. Totally like on first hearing is like, okay, yeah, I could see why that would be really upsetting. And none of the like side eye or crap that any of the other kids give you. But I do refer to us as occult comrades. Joss, my occult comrade. Like I actually literally use those words. But I don't know what your experience with everyone else was, but I absolutely 100% believe you. No guff, no, like I totally believe something weird happened to you, and I'm happy to help you research it because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm waiting for, and maybe this is it. Does that work for you, Paul?
Works for me. Do you want to crank it up a little bit more and say you were the first person that I encountered coming out of the Air Force Base?
Oh, that would be, that's awesome.
You saw me stumbling around.
That's friggin' cool. Yeah, because I was watching it myself. Yeah. Okay.
Just outside, yeah. And I am the comrade.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe I saw some weird flashing lights before it happened or something. Yeah. Whatever. We can find that out. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. Serving the airbase. I was the first person he saw after the abduction. That's great.
Yeah, I like that.
And I've got a thing for Lyle that is kind of a passive thing, but I just want to check in with Will and make sure that it's okay. It's not a thing that necessarily Lyle has to do anything about, but one of the things I have is this person is described in the prophecies, but the role they will play isn't stated.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Like
Gerhardts are in there somewhere.
The fallen family will be play a part in what's to come.
Excellent. All right, cool. And that's you don't need to do anything for that other than maybe get pissed off when I let it drop, way past the time I should have that. Oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah. Do you think that's I think it's kind of fun if it's like a secret at the moment you haven't told me, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Excellent. And finally, Paul, do you have any more connections you want to establish?
Well, sort of. The one I was going to go with, but it sort of links in with Jim's, so I don't think it's really worth putting it out there. But it is very similar to Jim's one. Was they were involved in a supernatural event similar to my first encounter. So I think that just links in with Jim's. So I'm quite happy to run with that. I've got something now with every character. So I'm just going to copy over Dot's one onto my sheet and include Pain Warrior because that's important. Cool.
Then I think we're done with history. I really like this. This is a nice set of connections. I think we should take a break here, and after the break we'll do start of mystery moves. I think there's one or two of those, and then we'll get into actual play. Yeah, so let's take a break until the hour, so that's 7 minutes. I'm not sure if I can pause. I'm not sure what happens if I pause the recording here, but
don't pause the recording.
Don't pause the recording. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to start a new session.
You can, if you really want to, you can just pull it into some cheap video editing software and edit the breaks out. So
yeah, I got some of those. So.
Yeah, or just someone will complain about it in the comments, and you can say, "I could have edited it. You're right." Big deal.
Yeah. See you in a few.
I'm back, Anders. Also, Paul, I love Pain Warrior's screen name. With all the numbers replacing letters and such, it's just...
So leet.
I believe you meant to say 1337.
Leets were actually a creature in a very early MMO game called Anarchy Online.
I remember Anarchy Online. Never played it, but I knew people who were just enthralled with it.
I could control 4 characters on one PC. So yeah, I near enough had a whole party of just myself playing.
That's what I did in Star Wars Galaxies. I removed the multiple login restriction, and I had, I think I had 4 accounts, and I would literally just write macros to have all of the accounts follow one person.
Yeah.
And I'd use that character to go grind levels and whatnot.
That's when grinding was a thing before sort of WoW got rid of grinding to some degree. So yeah.
Yeah, I know people who dual boxed on City of Heroes, have dual accounts there. Everyone's back. Jim, currently your screen name is Pat Bruton. I don't think that's
yes. That is a typo, and one of the reasons I don't like to use StreamYard is that once you have started, there is no way to change the screen name. There didn't used to be.
Click on the 3 dots. If you look in the lower left corner, you'll see your screen, and then if you click on the 3 dots, it will allow you to edit your name.
Oh, but not on the screen. Edit name. There we go. Ha ha ha. You didn't used to be able to do that with StreamYard.
That's come a long way.
Very nice.
All is forgiven. You can now change that.
Pat Bertone. There we go. It's
Bertone. The French Bertones. So, did we ever come to any kind of decision on the name of the Air Force Base?
I don't think so, unless someone's put it into the character keeper when I wasn't looking.
No, I mean, Paul, do you have any suggestions?
Give me 10 on that. I'll put it in chat.
No rush.
I just like the idea of it being named after like a World War I Air Force ace, or even an RAF ace.
I will do some digging.
Yeah, the naming convention for U.S. Air Force bases is that they're generally named after U.S. airmen or something local to the area. So it's either going to be like, the General Leslie Groves Air Force Base or the, Great Big Mountain Air Force Base like that.
Leslie Groves. Watch Oppenheimer recently?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I know who Leslie Groves is. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the depiction in Manhattan Project. It's better.
Cool. So I believe someone has a start of mystery move.
Yeah, I do. Does anybody else?
You do actually have when you're in good standing with your sect.
I do too. Yes, yeah. I have a sect-based one. It occurs to me now. Yeah, yep. I realize that.
Cool.
I get that confused with the agent move or the professional move.
Yeah, when you call on
that engages when you call them as opposed to having to do it at the beginning of each session. But yeah, that is also a starter session.
Yeah. Let's start with Dot. So you connect the dots as your move. I'm not sure who these other dots are, but maybe we'll find out.
That's an 8. So I believe that gives me 1 hold.
Yes, you hold
Yes.
1, and you can spend it on some things.
One of those
asking
5
questions.
questions. Yep.
Yeah, cool. And
Okay.
I assume that you will keep track of that, because I will not.
I will do my best to keep track of it.
Cool. And that is for the mystery. Yeah. Nice. Pat, you are presumably in good standing with your sect currently. So,
yeah, I mean, we're out of the gate. I haven't done anything to hack my parents off lately, I think. So, so let's see what we've got going on here. Hang on a sec. Let me do my jump into the roller here. So I'm going to roll
with charm.
With charm, which is like not my thing. I very specifically took a character not terribly charming. So my charm is -1. So let me see if we can start right out of the gate with some complications here. 2 dice, modifier -1. This is, what do they call this move? It's the sect move. Okay. Haha, it's my sect move. Oh, there's a 7. I just squeaked it out. All right.
So you will get a mission associated with the mystery, and if you do it, you'll get some info or help too. We'll introduce that in play. You won't have the mission right away, but I will make a note of that. Cool. So you are back in school after the weekend. It's the middle of October, which I imagine in Wyoming means it's fall, but it's not winter yet. There's no snow, but it's getting there. Probably had the first frost, but it's not proper winter. It's late fall. And I think you are coming out of an assembly in the gym because one of your schoolmates has been found dead. And I need to pick up the name. This is Brooke Johnson. She was junior, and you don't know what happened. They haven't told you that. They just told you that, and some of you had probably heard rumors about this over the weekend, that something had happened. But you've been told in the assembly that yes, she has been found. You haven't been told where she was found. You haven't been told what happened, just that she is no longer with you. And then you're expected to get on with your school day, because that's how we do things in the 1980s. I have put a number of teachers on the portraits tab, and also some students. The students currently haven't been named, so if you want to name someone and grab them as someone you have some kind of relationship with, someone you get along with, don't get along with, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, I will add some names as time goes on. I would like you to pick someone among the teachers or staff, someone from the school, that who's your favorite teacher or the person you do get along with there, and one of the teachers who is or staff who is your least favorite, someone you had a run-in with, someone who rags on you in class or something. I will, if Will is okay, I will start with you if you have an idea for someone like that.
Yeah. So many teachers, Anders. Like literally the whole faculty there.
There's no woodwork teacher.
Woodwork teacher. Yeah, no woodwork teacher.
No woodwork teacher.
Yeah, I was thinking. I just
no shop.
I forgot
Is
the
that what we
shop
call it,
teacher.
Jim?
Shop. Yes,
Shop.
I was about to say that is your shop teacher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to add a shop teacher, feel free.
Hell yeah, we would have a shop teacher.
I think that Lyle has been called into the vice principal's office anyways, because, you know, people's hubcaps went missing last week. And, you know, who else could it be but Lyle? Lyle swears that he's got nothing to do with it. You know, nothing at all. And so, yeah, he's in with... I think that Pamela Browning, the vice principal, is actually not like against Lyle, kind of like has a soft spot for him. Maybe like she's local and taught his mum maybe, but back when she was a teacher. So like taught Ruby Gerhardt before she became Ruby Gerhardt. And yeah, kind of like, you know, looks out for Lyle, which is why he's still in school rather than expelled for various things. And, you know, obviously there's also the Gerhardt endowment to the school. But yeah. And he's just, Lyle's saying like, listen, I don't, hubcaps, please. You know, do you think look at these hands. These are hands of someone who would, you know, get them dirty with oil and dirt and grease and anything like that. No, these are scholars' hands, Miss Browning. You know, I'm just, you know, I'm missing first period, and after the heartbreaking news of Brooke, I don't really know where this persecution is coming from, honestly.
Well, you should make sure to connect your scholar's hands with that head of yours and get that in on the game, because you have quite a few absences here.
Really, there must be some kind of mistake. I mean, I'm sure I was definitely here that day. But you know, like Mr. Wright, I know he's a math teacher and all, but he doesn't count too well when it comes to roll call. He sometimes loses track. His mind's too focused on the big numbers, not the little ones, you know.
Perhaps you should make sure to become a bigger number than in class and not count yourself among the zeros.
Oh, you woo me, Miss Browning. You woo me. I don't suppose there's any way I could be excused for the day. I mean, you know, Brooke, it's dangerous out there, right? Whatever happened to her, it could happen to any one of us. And, you know, if we all leave at the same time, then that's just giving whoever's out there you know, a bunch of targets. I'd be much safer if I was able to go home on my own.
There's safety in numbers, and besides, you need to put your scholarly hands to work.
Okay. I mean, I see where you're coming from, Miss Browning. Tell you what. Do you know what happened to her? Where did they find her? I'll just make sure I don't go there.
Seems like you're trying for a move here.
Yeah, and that would be either it's kind of up to the keeper in my experience whether you do it as an investigator mystery move and allow them to, you know, pick it up from the conversation or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do it as a manipulate someone, you just give them the thing. So it's dealer's choice.
Yeah, let's see. Where do we have the
basic moves can be selected from underneath on row 8. You can select one of them.
Oh, right. Yeah. I had seen that and then forgot about it. So yeah, let's do investigate a mystery.
Okay. I, of course, lost connection to the game server, as I always do. As an 8.
8. Nice. So you get to hold 1.
Yeah. I don't think she could answer what sort of creature it is. I don't think she can answer what can it do, what can hurt it, where did it go, what was it going to do. I guess what is being concealed here, in the sense of some aspect of information that's currently been withheld from us that she lets slip, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in your conversation about this, she's clearly trying to steer you away from the topic of Brooke, but from like stray words, stray phrases she uses, and the way she reacts when you're talking, you can tell that whatever happened to Brooke was very gruesome. It was something beyond what she has like encountered before. This wasn't just she fell, or probably even just that she was killed. This was something worse. This is a horrible thing that has happened.
I think maybe like what happens is Lyle jokes about like, don't worry, I'll look both ways before I cross the road. And, you know, like I hang from the desk, and she says, it wasn't a car accident, Lyle. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to, I don't want to see any of that happen to anybody else. Okay. You know,
yeah,
like,
and you can tell that she's kind of brittle. She's putting up this facade of joking a little bit with you and trying to do that, but you can tell that her heart's not in it. You've had these sessions with her before. It's not the first time you're in the vice principal's office, but you can tell that it rings hollow when she's kind of doing this banter with you.
Sure, Miss Browning, don't worry, it'll be okay. And he gives her a smile and a wink as he closes the door.
Yeah, just promise me that you'll stay in school until the end of the day. And that's just as you're closing the door.
Yeah, of course. And then he walks out. When would I ever skip school?
Cool. Let's move on to Dot. Which teacher do you think you're having someone you get along with or don't get along with, or someone else you're having an encounter with?
So tell me what you think is more interesting. Julie Phelps, the school librarian, or Maggie Terrence, the arts teacher?
That's up to you. What do you think? You're in the library trying to research something, or are you going to arts class?
Probably skipping arts class, and I'm in the library just reading. And I think Julie likes me just because I will literally wander into the stacks, pick a book out, and just start reading it. Almost, I mean, actually, literally at random. So she knows that I'm a reader and that I have a voracious appetite for information.
Yeah, and I think she knows that you're supposed to be in class, but she's also not getting on your case because she knows that something bad has happened, and students are going to be a bit out of sorts. So I think she's shelving, and she's like further down in the same, what would you call it, aisle, and she notices that you're there, and you know that she has noticed, but she's not saying anything, at least not yet.
Miss Phelps, how much do you know about moths?
Moths?
Moths.
Yeah, it's not a topic I'm particularly familiar with, but I'm sure we can find a book here on it if you're interested.
Oh, no, I was just... Do bugs make you Do you like bugs? Because there's a couple of pictures of moths in here, and they're just so pretty. I wanted to share them, but I don't know if like bugs gross you out.
Oh, I don't mind pictures. I'm not particularly partial to real life encounters with spiders and such, but I'd love to see the pictures you found.
Look at this picture of this rosy maple moth. It's pink and yellow, and it's so fuzzy. It looks like you could pet it.
Yeah, I suspect it wouldn't enjoy that very much, but it is very pretty.
Miss Phelps, do you have any books on grieving?
Ooh.
Like
Perhaps.
more than just that Kubler-Ross book? Because that's not even about like how you grieve for somebody else. That's how you like process your own impending death.
Let's see. I think we can find something maybe in the psychology section, and she leads you there and starts like looking through the books, and it's clear that she knows a lot about the books here, to the point where it gives the impression that she actually has read all of them, which she obviously hasn't, but to a teenager it may seem that way.
As she's looking, I say, did you know that there's a moth called the death's head moth? It actually has something that looks like a skull on it.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
a
I've heard of
pattern.
that. Moths are associated with death in mythology, I believe.
All this news kind of reminded me of my mom. I mean, you know, she had cancer, but still.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You know, I wanted to stay where we were, but my dad was just insistent that we had to move, that we had to start over fresh, someplace completely different, and we came here.
I'm sure he had good reasons for that, and people process their grief in different ways. For some people, it is important to move away from the things and places that and people that remind them of the person they have lost.
But isn't it better to be reminded, just like to go there and think about all the good times you had?
For some people, it takes longer to get to the point where they can focus on the good times and not be overwhelmed by the pain.
I didn't even know the kid who died.
Yeah, Brooke, she thinks she's a year younger, or what was a year younger than you, and she was pretty quiet. She would come here and read a lot, like you, but yeah, I don't think she made had that many friends.
Did you know her very well?
We talked occasionally, but I can't say I knew her well.
I know it's kind of a thing where people take food to somebody who just lost a loved one, but about all I know how to do is bake. I mean, do you think that baking them something like cupcakes or scones would be disrespectful?
I don't think it would be disrespectful, but I'm not sure her family. I'm not sure how they're doing right now. Maybe ask your father and see if he thinks it's a good idea.
Well, I would, but he spends most of his time at the prison. Turns out being warden is a busy job.
I can imagine.
He's usually gone before I wake up, and if I'm lucky, he gets home before I go to bed.
Well, if you need someone to talk to, I'm sure we can arrange that. Which reminds me, we should have a school nurse or the like.
There is a school nurse on there.
There is one. Someone's added the school nurse. No? Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
You did.
Mrs. Washington was there, but without a title, and I saw that we didn't have a nurse, so I made her the nurse.
Perfect. Yeah, if you want to talk to someone, Mrs. Washington or someone else, I'm sure we can arrange that.
Did Brooke have anything that she read about a lot?
So it seems now that you're angling for a move here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to learn something about her, so yeah. That makes sense. Hang on a second here.
So do you have a playbook move you're going for, or are you going for investigate a mystery or something else?
Well, that's a really good question, and I'm looking at the moves right now. I don't think I'm angling for a playbook question.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like an investigate mystery to me.
Yeah, I was going to say that or read a bad situation. So I'll just go with investigate a mystery.
Cool. So that's plus sharp, which I believe is good plus for 2. You.
Yep. That's right. There's the roll with me room. Ooh, that's a miss.
Oof. So on a miss, you reveal some information to the monster or whoever you are talking to. The keeper might ask some questions, which you have to answer.
Well, I've already told you that I'm alone most of the day.
Yeah. So that's
what else do you want to know?
You revealed, I think. Are you... Like, is your mother's death and your new situation and all of this, is this a real burden on you? Or is this something that you have processed and it's just a more general thing?
I think this certainly triggered Dot in the sense that it brought up not necessarily unresolved feelings, but certainly feelings around her mother's death.
Yeah. So I think this will prompt Miss Phelps to send you, like, more, convince you that you should go see Mrs. Washington and talk to her about what you're feeling and what your situation is, to see if she thinks you need more help.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Julie is kind of brushing me off in sending me to the school nurse. Like, go talk to somebody else about this kid.
which isn't her intention, but absolutely, it's a way you could.
Well,
you could-
especially because it's a missed roll. I think
Yeah,
that's the way that I'm processing it. It's like, okay, I'll just go talk to her. Thanks. And I want to have that little edge in the thanks. It's not even thank you or saying it sweetly or something. It's like,
yeah.
thanks for nothing. And
yeah,
I
you
will
don't even
leave the
bother
library.
putting the book back in the right place, right?
The book on moths I take with me. I don't even think I check it out. I just take it, and I don't bother getting a book on grieving or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just leave.
Cool. I think that's the end of that scene. So let's move on to Pat.
Yeah, so I think our scene is going to take place in the gym, and like we hear like squeaking of sneakers and like grunts of effort and all this kind of stuff and everything, and like like kind of noises, like sports associated noises, and we expect that when the camera pans down it's going to be kids playing basketball or something like that, but of course it's like half a dozen kids faced off against each other with the fencing gear on and the foils out and all this kind of stuff and everything. And like Pat leans in and gets this like perfect touch on the person he's up against. And the coach, who is actually it's our music and theater teacher, Dr. Vincent Kincaid. Dr. Kincaid is the coach of the fencing team and only the fencing team. What's that?
Vincent Kirkland.
Oh, Kirkland. Sorry, Kirkland. Yes, Kirkland. So Dr. Kirkland is has a it's not so much that he agreed to coach the fencing team as like we were such like, I think it's one of these things where like it was kind of a like it was an extracurricular activity that we needed like a faculty member to to approve, and so we went to him because it's like we can learn stage combat, right, to do this. And like I kind of like the idea that like he watched us flail around with them like once or twice and was like if my name is going to be associated with this, you're going to do it properly, right? And like and Kincaid Kirkland is like one of the like very punctilious, like in an 80s movie he'd be gay coded, right, but not necessarily like they wouldn't necessarily go into it, but like he'd be played by like John Gielgud or something like that. Actually, I think that picture that we've got for him is just about perfect. Like kind of staring over his glasses like that. He insists on being called Dr. Kincaid because he did not earn that PhD so that he could be called Mr. Kincaid. He did not, spend that time earning that degree so that he could be called Mr. Kincaid. And I think that like, his criticism is like kind of like witheringly delivered in like Shakespearean quotes and stuff like this. I'm not going to make you do that or anything, but like that's the kind of like he's got this affect that is just like like you slip out of bounds and then he'll like rattle off something from Henry V about like failure in battle or something like that, and we'll kind of go take a moment to take it in and go, okay, all right. And so so that's what's going on, is that we are and I think that one of the things that happens in the fencing matches is like there's a whole protocol where like you do your little salute and then you start back and forth, and he like walks from group to group kind of evaluating our form and stuff. And like, that's when we gossip with each other, it's like when he's looking at someone else, then, we can like, hey, did you hear about, the girl that died? Yes. Kind of like, and sometimes we'll like stall on purpose so that we can like gossip. And I think that's a little of what's going on right now. And I think, let me put, I think it's going to be, okay. So I think the kid with the glasses carrying the books is definitely got to be on the fencing team. It looks like to me. And he's going to be Dexter something, I think. Dexter.
Perfect.
Dexter Morton. Dex Morton.
Yeah.
So, and he is my I think he's my he's like my BFF from grade school, right? Yeah, I'm gonna put him friend from grade school.
Cool. I think Dr. Kincaid is to him. It's just as important how you're presenting yourself as how well you're doing with the fencing. So
100%.
It's very important that your like your posture and that sort of thing beyond what's needed for the actual the actual competition.
And I think Dex is my friend who's really smart about science. He's my lab partner who like does all the work and holds me up, in biolab when I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, like I do the actual dissection, but then he like labels everything, right? Because I like cutting stuff open, no problem, I can do that, but I don't know a spleen from a liver or whatever. All right. Yeah. So I think we're like whispering to each other about, what happened to Brooke. And we're like, each of us, I think kind of as we're going back and forth, each of us is coming up with increasingly outrageous theories about what happened to try and kind of one up the other, what if it was someone at the school? What if there's a serial killer at the school? What if it's the ghost of a serial killer from the prison who's possessing the students, like that, kind of as we're going back and forth.
Cool. So, Dexter is definitely excitable. I don't think he seems as like emotionally affected by this as some of the others, and he's also happy to go in on this speculation about what could it be and come up with fanciful theories. And whether that's because he's actually not emotionally engaged with it, or if it's a way to cover his
sure,
that's unclear. He's a teenager. Who knows?
Yeah. That completely makes sense to me. And so I think we're so let me see if I'm trying to turn this into like a move here, but I feel like just
you can roll investigate the mystery if you want.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the two of us kind of going over it, talking about theories and like no, couldn't be that because it's not a Yeti because her head wasn't twisted around the opposite way like that, like we're kind of going through like all those crazy theories and stuff like that. So I kind of like that.
And like you're exchanging some words here and there with the other fencers as well.
Nope. No, they're not.
Just
they don't. Oh yeah, just the two of us. Yeah, no, this is
Okay.
not like the other fencers think we're loopy, right?
Yeah. Cool.
I think they're like I think the other fencers are doing this because they heard that like fencing is like a way to get like it's like a thing that you can put on your resume that Ivy League schools like, you know, like if you want to get into Yale, you're more likely if you're if you won a state championship for fencing, that's better for your not resume, but like, whatever your CV than it is if you are on a lousy football team, right?
Yeah.
So I think the others are basically there like to fill a requirement, and and there's probably a couple and there's definitely a few drama kids on there too, right? Who are like so I think it's a mix of that probably, but for now, I mean we can name the others. I guess the other question is, Dot, I could invite you into this scene. I mean, do you want to be there at fencing practice with us, or are you off doing your own thing? I mean, these don't have to all happen concurrently, right?
Yeah, I can be there.
Cool. Yeah. So whatever. You're off to the side fencing, and maybe you can hear us, going at it or something like that. So, but let me call up the moves here. It's my first time doing this, so investigate a mystery.
So, a question for you who are more experienced with the game than I am. The help out move, do you roll that before or after? Because I feel like that if that's relevant here.
I always allowed people to do it after when I ran Monster of the Week, but if you want to require it beforehand, I can do that.
I prefer to do that sort of thing after, because it's doing it before means you're doing this whole roll thing, and then maybe it doesn't matter. So
yep, completely makes sense to me. Yeah, totally. I like that. All right, so I'm going to investigate a mystery. I am
sharp.
I'm neither charming nor sharp, so I'm going to be rolling it -1 on this one as well. So let me see here where this is. I've got the too many tabs thing going on right now.
Yeah.
Give me just a moment to find my dice roller here. Here we go. So this is investigate. Roll that. Oh yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That is a 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I think so. You're talking about this, and I think Dexter, because he doesn't know about your family sect and that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
But he's starting to realize that you know a lot about this stuff, and you're making very specific like arguments that if her corpse looked like this, then it would be this sort of thing, and he's like, he's starting to realize that you have very specific ideas here. He's more like, he's throwing out things that he's seen in movies and in comics and that sort of thing. But you seem to have like you're not engaging on that level. You're not like, here we're doing some fun pop culture references. You're like referencing other types of knowledge. So I think he's that's something he has realized. Do you think you give away anything else about with the way you're talking about this?
I mean, I think the like I don't think I'm gonna like spill the beans on the sect or anything.
No.
You know what I would give away? I would absolutely, I think, give away that this is not that would not be the first dead body I've seen.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
And might literally say that. Like if he goes, like if he says something about, like when I saw her, I thought I was going to hurl. And, I'd be like, oh, well, I mean, that's not the first dead body I've seen. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because it was like I was like it's one of those like dumb kid brag things that like slips out before I realize, oh no, that's information I probably shouldn't be sharing.
Yeah. And to be clear, none of you have seen her body.
Okay. All right.
But
Maybe he did. So then maybe or has none of us has nobody seen it?
You don't know who found her.
Got it. Okay, so then like I have no problem with him saying, "Man, if I saw a dead body, I think I'd hurl."
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
say,
yeah.
and yeah, that feels more like I can't imagine seeing a corpse, and me saying, "That's no big deal. You've seen one, you've seen them all," kind of thing like that. Yeah, and then going, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Does that work?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's perfect. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to get you into some scenes together with each other. So I think we'll tag that on with Pat and Dot after fencing practice. But I think we should get Joss in on the scene. So which teacher or what situation at school do you think you're in right now?
Because I've missed a period of time. Clearly, I'm a bit older. Physically,
you're a year behind.
A lot of the other kids. I have a beard. That's clearly a man of age. I'm going to go into the computer suite where teacher Marvin Lott is. And I've got a bag of potato chips, very greasy hands. And this is at a time where computers are quite expensive, and I think I'm sort of just going to barge through the door. He's not teaching in here, but there may be a couple of other students. I'm going to say, it's Marv. It's complete bullshit, man. There's no way she's dead. Something went wrong with the mind control experiments of the Air Force Base, and they've dumped her body. Everybody knows that, and I'm going to prove this wrong. I'm going to sit down at the computer and log in to some bulletin boards around town. I want to gain some extra information about what has happened here.
Cool. And he's like, Joss, I love your enthusiasm for the computers and the connections you're making, but you need to stay in the real world.
This is, and I'll prove it. This is what's really going on at that base. You need to believe me, Merv. I know people that know people.
As a teacher, I cannot support you in these flights of fancy, but please show me whatever you find out.
Of course, Pain Worry will prove you wrong. Now, Will, did you just hold, or did you actually ask a question?
I was just stretching my hand.
No, not now, my friend. Not now. As in,
no, I didn't. I asked a question.
We've had two failures.
Yeah, I did ask a question. What I uncovered was that her death was extremely, was brutal. It was unnatural or strange.
Okay. So yeah, I'd like to investigate a mystery.
And I mean, maybe I bumped into in the hallway, and I was like, Joss, as the teacher called for me down the corridor, and like, Lyle Gerhardt, you're late to this session. And like, yeah. And I'm like, man, something's fucked up with Brooke Johnson's thing, man. Like, shit, I gotta go. But like, it was real.
I don't know it, man. I'm gonna dig some more.
It wasn't aliens.
He knows nothing. Of course, it was aliens at the base. So investigate a mirror mystery, and I actually have quite good sharp. So hopefully something comes off here. No, not when you roll snake eyes.
Yeah, that brings you all the way to a 4.
4. No, but that's fine. So the keeper might reveal some information. So I think somebody notices that Pain Warrior is doing some searches online.
Yeah.
Somebody's lurking in those BBSs.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to target me.
Yeah. I think what we see, what the audience sees, is someone sitting at a computer, and they're just like silhouetted against the light of the screen, and they turn to the side and they say, "Sir, you'll want to see this," and that's what we get from that.
All round pretty crappy investigation there.
Yeah, you're not very good at this. Are you sure you played this game before? Cool. Is there anything more you want from that scene? Is there who else is in the computer lab? Is it just you and the teacher, or is there?
We've got the 3-letter team, Dot and Pat, in the gym. I've already interacted with Lyle, so let me see if there's any other students there.
Pete Johnson, Brooke's brother.
Ooh.
Brooke oh yeah, she's dead. So let's have some Pete Johnson. Yeah, he's going to be pretty pissed off that maybe what I said.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be too happy.
Yeah, I think when you start talking about this, like in this, whatever happened, and I'm going to prove what happened. I think he gets up and leaves, and he kind of like bumps into your shoulder as he goes out. Intentionally.
Watch the leather, man. Watch the leather. God damn, shows me no respect. I'm his senior.
You should really be more considerate of his feelings. He just lost his sister.
I'm trying to tell you, she's not dead. She's being held. That's a simulacrum. That's what they call it, man. She'll turn to ice in 3 days. That's what I've heard.
Cool. I think we're done with those scenes. So let's take another break, and then we'll get you all together. So let's meet back on the hour. So that's in 6 minutes.
I'm back, Andish.
Oh,
You could definitely be a bit Van Halen for Claudia Great, the science teacher, couldn't you?
sorry, I don't know the connection.
It's bad for teacher or something, isn't it?
Hot for teacher.
Hot for teacher. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a rather photogenic bunch, really. The arts teacher, the gym teacher. I mean, they're all. It's almost as though they're all from stock photography.
almost as if when you look for pictures of teachers and students on Pinterest, you'll get a lot of stock photos and a bunch of AI images generated based on stock
Oscar
photos.
Wright, the maths teacher, is clearly that's he's gone to Oxford or Cambridge, hasn't he? He's definitely a British teacher. I think I've actually seen Marvin Lott, the computer teacher, on something else. That's some sort of cover of some program or something.
It reminds me of Kenneth from 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Except with a beard.
Yeah.
Kind of a beard, at least. So everyone's back. I think we'll bring you all together at lunch. And since it is fall, you're not eating out in the quad or whatever Americans call it, but in the cafeteria.
In the calf. Yeah.
And I think since you're all you have been involved in some sort of mystery together before. Some of you are perhaps closer than others, but you all know that there's something going on here. I think that will pull you all together to see if anyone else has figured out something of what's going on at the very least.
Yeah, Lyle sits down with his 2 chocolate shakes, the one that he managed to wheedle out of the nurse lady, and looks at the plate of vegetables and slides it over to Pat.
I think it's totally like you sit down with the, like, whatever, we've got the standard school lunch, and you like slide the veggies to me as I slide my chocolate milk to you, right? That's just without even having to say it. Like the audience would know that this is how that exchange goes. So yeah.
So what did you guys find out about Brooke? I mean, it's got to be something weird, right? Like Miss Washington was real freaked out. They're not telling us anything. Miss Browning. Did you guys find out anything?
No, man. But of course she's not dead.
Oh, he just like sprays a bit of his chocolate milk, flicks some of his chocolate milk over on you. Like, I mean, from what Browning was saying, like she's pretty damn dead, dude.
No body, no death. It's made up shit, mate. And don't eat the Jello. How many times do I have to tell you? That's the leftover reanimation fluid from the base. They sell it to the school. That's why it tastes so crap.
It tastes delicious.
Don't eat that, man.
How do you know there's no body?
Because they haven't found one. I searched online. There's no mention of a body anyway.
I mean, maybe, those weirdos on the internet, sorry, Doc, don't, they just don't know about the body. Maybe you can't believe everything you read on the BBS forum. You get that?
Man, it starts with the papers. There's no way they've got to the BBSs yet. Anyway, we're not going to find crap all sat in school. We need to bust out of here.
I mean, did anyone speak to her brother?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, he weren't too happy when I said that, you know, it was a bullshit con job. He stormed off.
I mean, this is why you've won so many Employee of the Year awards, Joss. I mean, real customer service.
Man, they continue. There's no way that Blockbuster thing will outdo the video store. No way, man. People want the local service from me.
I mean, I guess I could go find him. I could go track him down and talk to him. I don't know. Like, he looks around at the three of you. I mean, Pat, Dot. I mean, let's have a look at the stats. Actually, who's got any halfway decent charm, so that this is actually in keeping with the characters. I'm sorry that I keep unfreezing the screen, but I cannot view the character keeper if we keep freezing the portraits. It just
buy a 5K monitor.
Yes, yeah, not my work laptop. Yeah. He goes to Joss. You stay the hell away from that kid. I think you've done enough. Pat, I mean, you're better at hitting things than talking. I think, right? Like, do you think you can talk to him without or maybe Dot? Dot, you want to back me up on this? I mean, everyone, you know, maybe Pete could do with a shoulder to cry on since his sister died. God, that sounds awful. I'm not like that.
Yeah, I can go.
And he pulls out a packet of cigarettes from his inside pocket and says, maybe you want one of these.
Those are really, really bad for you.
That's just, you know, Surgeon General was saying that they're good to smoke one day and then they're bad to smoke the next. Come on.
I mean, if you want to buy into the conspiracy that Big Cigarette is throwing around and covering up everything, then sure, I guess it's okay to smoke one day and then not smoke the next and then smoke the next day. But no, dude.
These are currency, you know?
In prison?
Yeah. And where are we? He waves around us.
We're in high school.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is not prison. My dad runs the prison. I would know the difference.
I bet. Your dad runs the prison, all right.
I heard Reagan pays the Contrans to put heroin or cocaine in the filter. That's what I heard, man.
That doesn't make sense. Heroin and cocaine do completely opposite things to your body.
Maybe it's like, you know, one kind of cigarettes, Marlboro for them, and something else for somebody else.
Look, we got to do something before someone else gets killed. This is not going to be the only body if we don't figure out what's doing this.
You're right there, Pat. Hey, I've got gym next session. Man, I hate Ruiz. She whips me hard, man, around that track, and that's bullshit. So I'm willing to break out of school. Or are you too goody two-shoes, Pat?
I don't. I mean, it's not goody two-shoes. It like school is important. I mean, I gotta
more important. And then Lyle just goes more important than lives, Pat.
So are you trying to manipulate another PC, Paul?
Yeah, why not?
Because there's a move for that. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I'm not really big in so resistant. If you don't want to do it, just say you don't want to do it. I'm more
but you get some experience if he goes along with it, basically.
Yeah. There's some mechanical incentives. So yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the move.
I am actually I'm not as bad as Pat trying to charm people. So hey, let's give us what's the worst that could happen? Bosh, a 6. That's what could go wrong. If only somebody were to help me, I could get +1 on that.
Let me see if I can help you out. But I have I have a low cool, so maybe not.
People gonna gang up on me. That's fantastic. I love that.
You know what? If you don't mind, I would like to try, just because I think that -1 might result in some interesting outcomes.
And also remember, can we, so just to pause for a moment and talk about how the luck mechanic in this game works?
Yeah.
We can spend luck. We can spend that anytime on any roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that bumps it. Does that bump it up by 1 or to a 10 plus?
10 plus.
Makes it automatically.
You can also use luck to negate all incoming harm. So
yeah, that's right. When you get creamed,
I think it reduces it to 1, but essentially the same.
Yeah.
But we can check. We can look that up when needed. But also, luck is a limited resource.
Yeah. But that's what's fun about it.
yeah, absolutely.
Where do we mark XP?
It's underneath improvements on row 38.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and we should note that on a 6 minus, you do get XP. You get XP on a miss.
Well, I tried to help, but that -1 took me from a 7 to a 6.
Too bad. So you mark XP for that, and then Joss's result is, it's up to that hunter, so it's up to Pat to decide how badly you offend or annoy them, and Pat will get to mark experience if they decide not to do what you asked.
And
so,
what do you want me to do, Paul?
Bunk off school.
Josh wants me to drop school. Okay, all right. I kind of set my jaw, and I say, the murder happened here at school. The place to investigate is here at school. Go see what the Air Force had to do with this. That's fine, but I'm going to investigate here because this is where the murder happened. And so, and I think, and this is where, and I say, in fact, I'm going to get started right now. And this is where I kind of shove my lunch tray. I snatch my lunch tray off of the table, push my chair back in, grab my book bag, throw it over my shoulder, walk over to the trash, carefully put the recycling in the recycling bin, the trash in the trash bin, neatly stack the tray on the little thing of trays, and kind of glare back at Joss, and then storm out of the lunchroom.
What a douche.
In the meantime, I'm going to look at Lyle and say, so what do you mean by that crack about you bet my dad runs the prison?
One day I'll tell you all about my uncle, huh? But in fact, I don't want to shout to your little view of, I'm sure the prison warden's really across all of the very important things that are happening right under his nose. Anyway, we got the thing. No, not all. I'm just I'm just being cynical.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to say, you know what? Fuck you, Lyle. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to just kind of empty my tray in the trash and follow Pat.
Cool. So it seems we have
uncool.
She's new here. She should know how things work.
Man, she's seen. She knows some shit.
Okay, Pain Warrior. Did we
Bring on the pain then?
Did we actually establish that the murder took place here in the school?
Nope.
I don't think it
Cool. I just wanted to make sure that we were
Yeah.
player knowledge versus character knowledge. Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know where the murder happened or who found the body or
No. Yeah.
the only thing.
I'm
The
going to
only
go.
thing you figured out, Lila's figured out that the murder was, or the death was very gruesome and probably unnatural in some way.
Yeah.
So it seems we have Dot and Pat staying in school, maybe talking to Brooke's brother, while it seems like Joss and Lyle are more for going somewhere else looking for clues. I mean, you could try to sneak into the morgue. You could try to talk to someone else outside of school, or try to find the place where she was killed or something.
I think Lyle was actually going to try his luck with the brother.
Okay.
I was trying to get Doc to help me out with that.
Yeah.
And then she got offended at me mocking the idea that her dad actually runs the prison, when everyone in town knows who really runs the prison, right? So I think, I'd say, look, Joss, you know that I'm always down to break out of this place, but Miss Browning, and he looks over at the other side of the room, and she's just like staring at him from across the room, and he's like, they're on my ass, man. They're really on my ass today. So you're on your own. Try to just tone this down a bit, like just this much. Be cool, man. Be cool.
I am cool.
Yeah.
Whatever the Latin phrase is cool. It's probably Pain Warrior. That's cool. Anyway, if Ruiz comes looking for me, tell her I got the shits or something, man. I ain't doing no track.
I will 100% tell Ruiz that you have the shits.
100%.
Yeah.
I have a needle kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll tell everybody that you got the shits.
Don't run your mouth, man. I can take a blow better than anybody.
Cool. I think we should cut that there, and let's see what's happening with Dot and Pat. Do you go your separate ways, or are you sticking together?
I'm probably trotting to catch up with Pat.
So I'm also gonna like pause just for a moment and remind you, just in case like this may be a good time for this to happen, which is my sect role indicates that I'm gonna receive an assignment from the sect.
Right. Yes.
I would love you to figure out which of the teachers is also in the sect, because I feel like that, like I should have no control over that. Like,
that's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Who would be fun for that?
I mean, if the other players want to weigh in, that's fine. I just feel like that feels like a thing I don't get to choose. Who's keeping an eye on me when I'm at school, right?
Let's go for, I think it's Maggie Terrence, the arts teacher. So yeah, I think when you get to your next class.
I think that then if she's the person with the sect, then I'd be headed straight to her after I like storm out.
Oh yeah. Cool. That's good. Yeah. Absolutely. So Dot, you're trying to catch up to Pat. You see him go to Maggie's office, or to the arts room, and Pat doesn't have arts class right now. There's no class there right now.
Does Pat even have an arts class?
I don't know. Does
Pat? Assuming this is one of those schools where like art is elective, and like it's I do not take art as a class. So yeah.
So Puckett, I'll let you deal with that, but we'll get into Pat's encounter with Miss Terrence first. Cool. So you go to the arts room. She's there. She's clearly doing like preparations for her next class. Oh, Pat, excellent.
Miss Terrence?
I'm sure you.
I hear that the pine cones are dry this time of year.
It's good that you're sticking to protocol, Mr. Burton, but you don't need to worry that much. It's just you and me here.
Okay. What? We need to do something. We need to do something about. Hang on. Let me just make sure I've got the ghost name right. Brooke. Brooke was this. This could have something to do with the prophecy. Maybe it's started. What do you? How
I'm
can
not sure we should jump to.
What should I do?
We shouldn't jump to those conclusions, but you are correct that this is something that we need to investigate, and I think you are well positioned to do so.
All right. So, my friend Joss, talked to her brother, and I think he might have offended him by speculating that maybe she wasn't dead. I mean, which seems like a reasonable thing to me. You have to be prepared for any possibility, right? I mean, that's what you've always told. That's what like you've always taught me, is to, have an open mind about these things. But I think that maybe he hasn't had that training, and so he's like he was, I don't know. Josh said he was very upset. So, what's your advice about how to, or should I try and get a look at the body?
I think that would be very useful.
Okay.
We are reasonably sure that she is indeed deceased, but we haven't been able to gain access to the morgue, which is where they say they're keeping her remains. And
Okay.
if you could find a way to get in there and take a look, that would be very useful.
All right. Okay. And like he takes a breath and like kind of stands up a little stiffer, like he's about to say some kind of code phrase to like end the meeting, and she's just kind of looking at him bemused, and he like goes, all right, well, thank you, Miss Terrence. I'll let you know what I find out.
That's good. And then she relaxes into like her usual public persona, which is a lot more like friendly and almost a little touchy feely, like
maybe a little flighty. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. All right. And so, with a kind of like determined look on my face, I turn, and just like I walk out of the art room. And Dot, are you right there when I come out the door?
I think so, because this is curious to me, since I know you don't have an art class. So I think if I can I investigate a mystery?
Ooh. Is that the right move for this, or is this?
Or is this reading a charged situation because I'm in consultation with my handler?
Doesn't feel like a bad situation, because that's
okay.
about
Yeah, no, yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. I think investigate a mystery with something like what happened here and what is being concealed here. That seems more.
Yeah, we could, because we can always retcon her telling me things about what they know so far. I got no problem with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my sharp is 2. Back to rolling with a bonus.
Yeah.
That's a 9.
That's a 9. So you get to hold 1. You can ask 1 question.
What is being concealed here?
Well, clearly something is going on with Pat. That's one thing. And I think we'll do this for both the situation with Pat and for the actual mystery. So with Pat, clearly he has some sort of connection with Miss Terrence. What kind of connection is unclear, but he looked stressed out when he was going there, like he was really marching his way to her classroom. And now he looks like he has some sort of purpose, like he's determined. I think that was my read of does that feel right to you, Jim? Cool. So something happened there.
And also, didn't we just have a scene where Dot, were you in her class before when you left?
I went to Julie Phelps.
No, that was Julie Phelps. Okay.
I was supposed to be in art class.
and if we know that Dot is smart, absolutely Dot would detect, I think, the difference in her affect, right? When she's talking to me versus her usual flighty, arty thing that she's doing. Yeah. Like tone of voice thing. Yeah.
I don't think Dot could overhear exactly what was said inside, but she could hear like the tone of voice and the way they were talking to each other. Like could detect that and hear that doesn't sound like the way Maggie talks usually.
Oh, she's totally one of those teachers that wants us to call her by her first name, isn't she?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, for sure. Yes, I'm the only one that calls her Miss Terrence. So there we go.
And then about the mystery, what is being concealed? I think it's clear that someone is trying to keep people from knowing about the condition of the body. Like this is, you have found out that it's gruesome, but there's something more to it than that. This is, and I'm not sure if you feel like this is enough. Otherwise, we can get into more detail later when you have something more to go on. But it's clear that the authorities, for lack of a better term, are trying to keep this under wraps.
I think that's fair. But when Pat comes out, I'll be leaning against the wall outside the classroom. Say, so you don't have classes with Miss Tarrant, with Mags,
Pat. And Pat like pulls up to a stop. And Puckett, if you're okay with this, like just like blushes crimson when he sees that it's you, like talking to him in the hall and not like all of us sitting around the lunch table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of like looks like just like he stammers a little. And he says, "Oh, Dorothy, no,
Pat, how many times have I told you to call me Dot? Dorothy was my grandmother."
It feels disrespectful.
Okay, but if I'm telling you to do it, then isn't it disrespectful to not call me Dot?
That makes sense. Dot?
Thank you.
No, I don't have art right now. I had Ms. Terrence well, she
Pat, the longer you take to explain something, the more I think whatever is coming next is maybe not as true as it should be.
And I kind of, I do that thing where I look up and down the hall, and then I lean in and I say, Can your dad help us look at the? Can your dad get us into the morgue to look at the body?
I'd have to actually see him, but you know what? I might be able to like steal his ID or something like that.
That's the only way we're going to get to see it, isn't it?
Probably.
Okay, I don't approve of that, and I don't want you to get in trouble. But if anything happens, I blame it on me. Tell them I made you do it.
Okay, but my dad would actually have to be around to notice. So I think it'll be okay, Pat.
Okay. We should
But so Mags.
Who? Oh, yes. Sorry, Miss Terrence.
You don't have art.
She's friends with my parents.
Are you asking me or telling me?
She's friends with my parents.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, if we're going to visit the morgue, I'm going to have to get my dad's ID, which is outside school.
Okay. And so we can get a pass, right, for the rest of the day?
I mean,
are you feeling sick?
Doc, you're supposed to go to see Mrs. Washington, the nurse. So maybe that's the way you could get out of school. And I think actually probably your dad has a lot of keys. It's quite possible that he has a key to the morgue. Because he has a lot of keys related to police stuff and that sort of thing.
And it's probably on the keyring that he doesn't take to work because he doesn't need it at work.
Yeah, he's told you that these are the keys. Here are the keys to the house. You need to know where those are. Key to the car in case something would happen that would need you to know where that is. But these are his work keys. You don't touch those, but you know where they are.
Pat, do you have a car? Do you drive?
Yes.
Okay. Because
you'll need a ride home. And
exactly.
And my last class is typing, and Mr. Lott is very generous with letting students out of that class.
Sorry, I'm not sure you actually do have a car because, the searcher has an equipment option to have a car. So,
okay.
Joss has a car, and you have an option for the team playbook to have transportation.
Oh, that's right, and which we didn't take. That's right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So all right then.
Just to make those
sure.
Sorry.
It's okay. You
but
can
you
walk
home.
So
safely.
I don't have a car, but I might be. But Joss might let me borrow his.
Or you can just walk me home to make sure I get there safely.
Okay. Yes. I can. I could do that. I've done that. I've done that once or twice before, so I could do that again.
Okay. So I guess our next step is visiting Miss Washington.
All right.
Cool. Let's cut that there. Lyle and Joss, are you sticking together to talk to Brooke's brother, or are you splitting up?
I'm out of school. Lyle is staying in school.
Cool. So let's go to Lyle and Brooke's brother, and then we'll see how we're doing time-wise. If we have time, we'll do some of the out-of-school stuff. Otherwise, I think we'll probably go to end of session and Stars and Wishes. Cool. So Lyle, you can find Brooke's brother. That's not too hard. You know who he is. And Pete is, yeah, I think you find him walking out of Mrs. Washington's office, the nurses. Would you call it an office? The nurses' station?
Yeah, the nurses, whatever. Hey, Pete, man, wait up.
Lyle, what do you want?
I mean, I could do with some company, man. Do you want to? And he pulls out the packet of cigarettes and he says, like, do you want to, hit the back of the bleachers?
I think we'll go to the move right away here, see how he reacts to that, if that's okay with you.
I am a grifter. So, it's accidentally moved on to a different one, but I know what it is that people want to hear.
Oh, cool. Let me see. Is that on the grifter thing?
When I'm about to manipulate someone, you can ask the keeper what will convince this person to do what I want. And what I want
absolutely,
is to relax enough to talk to me and, open up to me about what's going on here.
Yeah. He tells you as you walk, like he's walking to his locker, picking up his stuff. Like, yeah, my mom's coming to pick me up, but and he would love a smoke, like just sitting down with someone away from everyone, and just that's perfect. It's exactly what he wants.
Perfect. Well, we got some time, man, and your mom smokes, right? Like, she's never gonna catch this on your breath.
Yeah, she's told me I can't steal smokes from her anymore, but she doesn't keep count.
And as we sit down at the back of the things, I'm gonna pull out a cigarette for me. And then I'm just gonna pass in the box and say, "You keep that, man." I got more where that came from.
Thanks, appreciate it.
You ever need any more? Just fist bump. So, shit, man, I don't really know what to say, but they told us all about. I can't believe they still had you in school today, man. Like, that's brutal. Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, my dad told me I should go in, but
dads, huh? I mean,
yeah.
I say dads. I mean, everyone knows what happened to my dad.
And he looks at you like everyone kind of knows what happened to your dad, but no one really knows what happened to your dad. So, but he doesn't say anything. It's
well, I'm hoping that'll be a thing we have in common with his sister, right? Like, everybody knows what happened to his sister, but no one really knows what happened to his sister. So maybe he'd like to talk about it. So I guess this might be investigate a mystery.
Yeah, sure.
If only I had a way to roll that with plus charm, but I don't.
Well, your sharp is pretty good, so.
Sharp is a 1, yeah.
It's better than some.
Yeah. Boxcars.
13.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of us is good at Monster of the Week, apparently. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that gives me 2 questions.
Yeah, you get a whole 2. Yeah.
What happened? Like, what does he know about what happened? Like.
Yeah. So what he tells you is that Brooke would, like often this time of year, she would go into the woods like do like pick mushrooms and that sort of thing, and just she liked being out in the woods, and on Saturday night, on Saturday she went out. She didn't come home, and Pete went looking for her. His parents told told him to go look for her. You know where she hangs out, and he does know like her spots in the woods. They would go there together sometimes, and he's the one who found her. And to build on the gruesome death, he is not able to like describe, but from what he says, it's clear that she was her body was absolutely like destroyed. Like there was blood everywhere, torn apart, and what he says that sticks specifically in your mind is it was barely anything of her there. It was, I don't know if it was bear or coyotes or something, but she was eaten.
And I'm imagining that like cigarette shaking in his hands as it burns down without a puff being taken out of it, you know? Until he takes one really long, hard drag, and Lyle just like passes him his lit cigarette from his mouth.
And he takes it and
I guess my other question is, because I think that what happened here, I don't think that he'd know anything about what sort of creature is it unless he had something that he noticed that could slip. I think I got that anyways, kind of like the body's partially eaten, something that eats people. So I think what I would ask is, where did it go? And I'm fine with that just being like where it went in the like where did this happen kind of thing, like where was the scene kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So he describes a place out in the woods, and from what he tells you that there were like broken branches and a bloody trail going towards the town, and this area of the woods, like the school is like on the edge of the town, and from the way he describes it, it could be that this whatever it was went towards the school. It's definitely towards the town, and the school is the closest part of the town to that spot. And it's like maybe it's not that far from the school. Maybe like at most it's like 1 kilometer, maybe.
Yeah. And you know, like I think we just turn like as the camera, you know, like goes out, and he's like it's the back of his cigarette, and maybe like shoulders start sobbing a bit, and Lyle just puts an arm around him, and the camera pulls out, and cuts away, you know.
Yeah, and the camera zooms out, and it zooms out, and it zooms out, and we see that the forest stretching out from the school, I think we'll end the session there, and we'll go into end of session and then stars and wishes. And end of session, I know we have some questions and such, but I don't know if they are in the keeper somewhere.
I've got them in front of me.
Cool.
End of session. Did we conclude the current mystery? No, we did not. Did we save someone from certain death or worse? No, we did not. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
Yeah, I think so. We've learned a lot about like the school and the people there. So I think that counts.
And the one that you always mark in session 1, did we learn something new about and important about one of the hunters? I think
absolutely.
So
that's one mystery for everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. And I don't think anyone has any end of session moves. I don't think there is a lot of that in this game, but I'm not sure.
No, there's not many end of session moves. No.
Cool. So let's go into Stars and Wishes, talking about what we enjoyed this session, what we would like to see moving forward. I'm going to start with Paul.
Yeah, good session, good pace, some great RP. I think everybody pretty much had a scene with everybody else, which I think was a good achievement. I really liked. It was nice to see Puckett as Dot throw out some assists, or at least attempt to help. This game is only Adam +1 a roll, so I know it's quite situational. But you did put yourself in quite a few scenes there, Puckett, so that was very much appreciated. I think all the I like Will's smoking Lyle, and dare I say slightly geeky Pat Burton from you, Jim. I thought you were going to go down the old Snake Plissken type Burton route, but no, we've got this fencing Yale wannabe that likes chocolate milk. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, indeed? Yeah, enjoyable.
Cool, thank you. Let's do both Stars and Wishes, because otherwise I will forget to go back.
It's early days, just more of the same. Let's continue with that. There's no wish at the moment, really.
Cool, thank you. I should say I know we have a spot for notes on Stars and Wishes here. I'm really bad at writing while I'm listening to this sort of thing, so I'm not going to write anything down there. If you have anything specific you want to highlight, please feel free to put it in, and especially wishes if you have something. And you can do that after the session if it's something you don't think about now right away. I will go in reverse character keeper order. So Jim is next.
Yeah, Stars. I mean, we've all got really interesting characters, and like I think personalities for everybody came out like right from the jump. Paul, I kind of love that you're more of a flake than the character that is actually labeled the flake. Joss is like total commitment, like and this is the thing, which is you're playing him as someone who maybe their mind actually got broken somehow. Maybe they're like, and it's funny to be like, haha, he's so paranoid and stuff like that. But maybe there's something really, really wrong.
The truth is there.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about that there's something buried trying to fight its way out or something like that. And already I'm getting that vibe off of him, which is fantastic. Will, I love that already, Lyle is someone who clearly could go bad, or either way, depending on what our friends are. And I love the oh yeah, your dad runs a prison. Okay, sure, kid. That was, even though you're like the same age as us and it's not like you're there or anything like that, but just, I imagine in my head, I can hear the conversations going around your dinner table or whatever, or you overhearing that kind of thing happening, going on. And I really love that. Puckett, delightful. You and I played together a whole lot. I'm really happy to be at the table with you. This is really cool. And Dot's like clearly kind of like milking a little bit that she knows Pat is kind of uncomfortable around her. And in particular, like the longer it takes, the more obvious it is that you're making something up. That's great. And I'm really enjoying just what little bit of the interaction that we had so far. And, also from the jump, displaying that Dot has particular emotional intelligence, like recognizing that she's grieving, asking the librarian for help with that, kind of indicating that she's someone who like seeks out tools to deal with things, but, on her own, right? Because, we've kind of established you can't rely on your dad to help you out and stuff like that. And all that was great. Anders, good job juggling everything, stuff like that. It's a bunch of you've got 4 kind of scenery chewers here, and you're handling it very well so far. So kudos for that. Stars. That's stars. Wishes. One of the things that I would not mind is technically it may be bending the rules a little bit, but I'm really cool if you dole out harm here and there to reflect like social harm or psychological harm or whatever and stuff like that, and not necessarily just the only time we have to deal with harm is when we get shot. Because one of the things about this being an early PBTA game is there's no conditions or stress or anything like that. And so I have no problem if you want to if we'd full on miss, well, you're going to take 1 harm to reflect the fact that everyone in school is laughing at you now. Absolutely, that's a wish I have that, and of course, everybody else, that's not strictly speaking, I think, by the rules. So everybody else would have to say that that's okay for their characters. But I'm totally telling you, for my character, bring it. I think that's great. And because then that lets us engage some of those mechanics other than just when we're fighting. And I think, and the other thing, of course, is that the big wish I have, of course, is that we get into a bunch of situations where I get to protect people, where, I'm kind of stammering and useless and, sometime in the next, doesn't have to be next session, but by the 3rd session, I'd like to have the big scene in the show where they go, oh shit, that's why they keep that guy around. And really looking forward to that, to whip out his, and to show that it's not just the fencing sword he knows how to use. He's maybe been doing some training on the side with other stuff as well. To see him be physically competent. Because, I was just kind of flailing around today, and I'm totally fine if all through the game, I'm not great at that social stuff. But that when the monsters come at us or the serial killers are, lurking around, I'm looking forward to that happening a little sooner rather than later. So there we go.
Yeah, I hope I expect I will get to satisfy that wish next session, but we'll see. I like the idea for using harm for non-injuries as well. I'll think a bit about it, but I'm definitely positive to it, because exactly for the reasons you mentioned. But we can all think about it until next session and maybe talk about it on the Slack. Thank you. Puckett.
So, first of all, Paul, I liked Joss, and I like how just hammer-headed Joss was about it's got to be the Air Force Base. It's got to be the Air Force Base. We don't know it's her body. It's got to be the Air Force Base. It's just, that was staying focused on an obsession like that is. I like that about the character. And I've got to say, I'm kind of Jim, I think it was you who mentioned that, Joss is more Flake-like than the actual Flake right now. And I'm okay with that, because I think my flakiness is going to come in just trying to piece everything together and bring in all these disparate elements and things like that. So, we can actually play that kind of conspiracy theorist background in 2 ways. One where you're obsessed with kind of one thing, and I can be obsessed with everything else and trying to fit it all together like a puzzle. Jim, it's going to be so much fun messing with Pat. Because it's almost like Pat was like, wait, you're talking to me and we're not at the table and we're not at fencing practice? You can do that? That's something that people do? So it's going to be a lot of fun messing with Pat and trying to bring Pat out of his shell a little bit. Especially if I find out why you call Mags Miss Terrence. But and then Will, I don't know if you intended that to seem like a slight about her dad, but I appreciated the ambiguity that would actually let me treat it that way. Just to add a little bit of tension, a little bit of maybe animosity. So I really appreciate the way that you played that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. It easily could have been 100% intended, but just the fact that there's like a question about it I dug that. Andish, you're doing a fun job running this so far. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. As far as wishes go, I don't have any right now. I just want to see where things go. I want to see everybody get a chance to shine with something that they're good at. But that's so vague that it's probably not even, that doesn't even count as a wish, because that's just something you're going to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Will, go ahead.
I'm happy for people to take offense at the things that Lyle says, because I'm imagining that he runs his mouth a lot, and sometimes it's to good ends, and sometimes it ends up pissing people off. My stars would be, I did really love all the character stuff. It was a great little opening session of the little mystery club that we've got set up here, and a big star for it to be a grisly murder as our first mystery. I enjoy that very much. Something like high stakes and quite nasty to kick us off here in our last days of youth, basically. Because in Stranger Things, quite a lot of people die very horribly. As much as it's all kids on bikes, those kids on bikes are the lucky ones. Everyone knows what happens to Barbara and what happens when they find her. Wishes. One thing about the taking harm idea, I'd suggest that maybe it could be done as a -1 forward. Just because most of the week is all like physical harm rather than, and -1 forward would be like a, because it's a thing that the keepers often forget to do in most of the week, but there is a, you take a -1 on your next roll kind of stuff, or your next roll in that stat or whatever, right? Until it's done. I guess my other wishes would be for some of us to go wander, the usual wander off and get into trouble and all those kinds of things. And on that note, I think it's because it's the opening session and then this, it's the first roll of the game, right? It's hard to pull off, but I know that many of the moves have an advised miss roll next to them consequence, but there's also the basic keeper moves. And you can turn them into a hard move on a miss, basically, right? So, like in the library, that miss could have been like somewhere behind the stacks, something moves to follow Dot out of the room, kind of thing, or another NPC gets killed, or like that kind of thing. And I'd just like to. I always think that Monster of the Week works really well when you take those hard moves as an option, right? And you raise the stakes and you make it feel like it's life or death, because I think the big advice I always find in Monster of the Week is that the monsters should be very dangerous. They should be really tough, and your characters should feel overwhelmed by it. You're not, Buffy is usually getting her ass kicked in like 9/10 of the episode, right? Otherwise it'd be a very short episode. And maybe more of a thought. I would like, perhaps as we go through different sessions and time stuff, perhaps where there's not an obvious opportunity to follow down like the current mystery, perhaps we're investigating the Pale Men, and we're building up like stuff about him as it goes on, like fleshing that out over time. And who knows, maybe the Pale Man will end up being interlinked with the things that are happening in the current Monster of the Week episode, or maybe it won't be. But it says here that there have been 20 convicts sent to the chair in the last 100 years who all claim to be the Pale Man, as we discussed, that kind of thing. And just like flesh it out over over the sessions as we go, kind of stuff.
Cool. Thank you. I really appreciate that advice. Like I've told you, I don't think I said it on camera. I haven't run Monster of the Week a lot. I've run a little bit of first edition, so I'm very happy to take any advice you have about the particulars, and I'll specifically remember that thing about using the other keeper moves for misses. That is good advice. So thank you. For my stars and wishes, I'm going to repeat some things that have already been said. Everyone seems to have a really solid grasp of the characters from the get-go, and that's nothing less than what I expect from you, because I know you're all you're good at this. You've done this before. And I like the interplay between the characters, that you're kind of it feels like you're friends deep down, but on the surface you have this very teenager like antagonism that's superficial but still meaningful. But under that you have like a more solid connection, even if you're not really emotionally aware of it yourselves at all times. I think you're doing a really, really good job with that. So that's I really like that. And yeah, the Flake and the Searcher are like there is a lot of overlap there. Like the Flake knows that there's a big conspiracy out there, and they're trying to find out what that is. The Flake has had, or the Searcher has had, a specific experience that's triggered kind of the same thing. So yeah, they are very close, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope and I think these two characters are so different that I don't feel like it's an issue here, because as you described, they're focusing on very different things, and I think that will help keep them distinct and give them different feel. I feel like that's more important than being like very mechanically distinct or having very separate areas of competence, because you're using them in different ways. So I think that's good. Yeah, I think my wishes is mostly just to put you in danger and see how you get out of it, because that's the fun part. I'm glad I didn't that this didn't seem too gruesome. I wanted to start off because with this like with the time skips, I want to make the mysteries like really impactful and important. Well, expect more people to die is what I'm saying. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's all for me. And I think we'll say goodbye to the internet and stop the recording. Take care, everyone.